Far Cry 4 has been announced with this image of a man who looks like he's been at RuPaul's suit collection and another man looking glumly at a grenade that's about to go off. Cheer up, buddy, might never happen. Or at least it won't happen until November 18th when Far Cry 4 comes out. We loved Far Cry 3 and are jazzed about the prospect of more Far Cry, as long as it keeps well clear of these 7 things we don't want to see in Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 has been announced for Xbox One, PS4 and PC. Great news! It's also been announced for Xbox 360 and PS3. That's good news for anyone still playing on a trusty last-gen console, but less so for those who've adopted the new machines. The worry when a game is being made for both current and last-gen technology is that ambitions have to be scaled back to accommodate the less powerful machines. Here's hoping the Far Cry devs develop Far Cry 4 as a current-gen title first and foremost, and hire another studio to focus on making it all work for last-gen. With the next-gen Far Cry game, we want a bigger map, even more to do, and a game that uses all the power of the current-gen hardware, without having to make compromises for less powerful machines. Hopefully there'll be less bros for the engine to render this time, which should help. Right, we're in the Himalayas for Far Cry 4, which is going to be a very different environment to the tropical Rook Islands of Far Cry 3. That means new vehicles, right? Right. With the Himalayas being a mountain range and all, we're expecting the world to have a lot more verticality, so this is either going to mean long, difficult treks up mountains, or helicopters, am I right? Or rideable mountain goats, I guess.
Can you fly a chopper?
No!
You have your pilot license!
Yeah, I got that for a plane!
Well, now's the time to learn!
What? Oh, shit!
I hope I'm right, on the helicopters I mean, because I'm not up for a mountaineering simulator. Fingers crossed the wingsuit makes a reappearance as well, because getting to the top of the highest peak in the game and then not being able to wingsuit off it seems like a wasted opportunity.
Are you sure this wingsuit works?
Trust me! Just extend your arms, it's gonna work!
According to Eurogamer's sources, the game will include rideable elephants, which is an excellent start. The more ways to get around the world, the better.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change.
Far Cry 3's marketing was all about its villain. They even put him on the box. It looks like Far Cry 4 is doing the same thing. We know the guy on the cover isn't the player character. According to leaked story details, you play as a character called AJ Gale, who travels to Kyrat to fulfill his mother's dying wish and finds himself caught up in a civil war to overthrow the oppressive regime of dictator Pagan Min. So this guy's probably Pagan Min and the game's main villain, or one of them. Here's hoping he gets a more satisfying story arc than Vaas. Far Cry 3 did a fine job of making us hate Vaas and then had him vanish for ages before showing up to get knocked off in an anticlimactic QuickTime event.
I am the balancing point.
Okay. In fact, most of the important boss moments of Far Cry 3 took the form of anticlimactic QTEs.
Joy!
Putting aside the question of whether we even need boss battles in a Far Cry game, there must surely be better ways of handling a clever and dangerous main villain like Vaas, or presumably Pagan Min. Not you, Buck, you're the worst. Deus Ex Human Revolution made a similar mistake with its own boss battles and then fixed it in a new version by adding multiple ways to approach the fights. Some similar kind of flexibility for Far Cry 4's villain encounters would be a welcome change. Far Cry 4 is a whole new story with a whole new setting, but here's hoping that they keep Far Cry 3's Outposts system, or at least something very, very like it. There must be the temptation to completely change up the game, but for me, conquering Outposts was the highlight of Far Cry 3, scouting them out from afar with my camera and figuring out my strategy. Maybe I'll go in through that hole in the fence and then silently take everyone out. Maybe I'll shoot open that cassowary cage and let him handle the hard work. Maybe I'll just drive a jeep in through the front door and run everyone over. In fact, I will definitely do that. So long as Far Cry 4 still lets me approach objectives the way I like, I'll be happy. But while you're listening, Ubisoft, have the guards record more than 6 lines of dialogue this time.
I'm getting the shakes already. I'm gonna need another hit soon. It burns like a mother when I piss. Should have used the rubber. This island and everyone on it can burn in hell.
Shut up! There were some great side missions in Far Cry 3, but it never felt like there was enough variety to them. Let's have more story-based side missions outside of the campaign that play to the series' trademark strengths, like altered states of consciousness, difficult decisions, and dubstep flamethrowers.
Number 5 was totally worth it.
We know that Kyrat, the setting for Far Cry 4, is in the grip of a civil war. How about dynamic factions, where the different side missions we choose to undertake alter our standings with various groups? Also, Kyrat promises to have a wide variety of indigenous fauna for us to blow up, so let's have more hunting side missions while we're at it. The hunting side missions in Far Cry 3 were a good start, but they felt limited in how you had to use a certain weapon and stick to a certain area. When I think of hunting challenges done well, I think of Red Dead Redemption, which had tough, creative challenges with genuinely worthwhile rewards. Something along those lines for Far Cry 4, please. And while we're on the subject, don't show us collecting handfuls of animal guts and call it skinning. I'm no hunter, but I know an animal skin when I see one, and that is no animal skin. Ew, gross, I touched it. Look, I get that you don't want people to trade your game in as soon as they finish it, and one way to try and do that is to include a multiplayer mode. But for me, Far Cry 3's multiplayer felt unnecessary and disjointed. There were some good ideas, such as the map editor, Firestorm mode, and the winning team's MVP being given the option to execute the losing team's MVP.
Show him mercy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or viciously punish him.
But the maps weren't interesting, and crucially, it wasn't very fun to play. If I want a multiplayer shooter, I can turn to one of the countless other games on the market that cater for that. It's not what I'm looking for in a Far Cry game. That being said, I'm not opposed to some co-op. Campaign co-op isn't going to work for the kind of story a Far Cry game is going to want to tell, but Far Cry 3's 4-player co-op, which took place 6 months before the main game and shed some light on the events leading up to Jason's story, that worked well. We'd be up for something similar in Far Cry 4. Finally, and I know it's tempting Ubisoft, but if you call it Far Cry with a 4 instead of an A at any point, we will all insist on pronouncing it Fafori Cry. Just so you know, Thief got the message. So those were 7 things we don't want in Far Cry 4. What's on your wish list? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this from Outside Xbox. See you next time.